Hey, when you go on your YouTube homepage, does your algorithm look like this? When you watch the videos commonly recommended to you, do you often have a hard time remembering what exactly it was you were watching? Well, worry not. If you're watching this video, there's still hope. These are all symptoms of slop content. Others have covered the topic, but never before has someone given the world a look at the behind-the-scenes process. Also, those videos seem to keep mysteriously disappearing. This video will take you down the YouTube slop rabbit hole to explain how it works, how it baits you in, and how you could possibly get away from it. But as a starting point, what is slop? Why is it called that, and why is it bad?
Slop is the blanket term used to describe low-effort, mass-produced content. Slop content on YouTube has a lot in common with fast food. There's a big market for both, it's easy and digestible, and they're both unhealthy for you. Just like obesity is a massive issue in America, empty, forgettable content is a massive issue on YouTube. On a conceptual level, there isn't anything wrong with daily content. In any market, you're going to find quantity and quality, and completely pushing for quantity has always been a valid and successful business model. The issue is that oversights and defects are more likely to occur when a product is mass-produced without quality control. I think the term slop largely comes from the fact that the research and execution is sloppy. Even in higher profile situations like Kendrick versus Drake, where finding the relevant information is a lot easier, people like Pyrocynical, who don't remotely care or have any interest in the topic, will still cover it just because he knows it'll get views. This leads to a lot of, frankly, embarrassing oversights that Pyro completely shamelessly keeps in the public video to this day.
Adonis, Future, and Metro's booming track. Other albums like Good Kid and Mad City. It actually unlocked a core memory of when Leafy was here, was still on YouTube, and he was like asking people to do like, hiss in the comments section.
Obviously, slop isn't going to have the same creativity or production value as something with more effort, but that's by design. Slop channels are less about the product and more about the formula. Something they tend to do is find a simple and repeatable format that lets them stand out while not significantly adding to the workload. Much like the fast food chains, optimization is a key factor. Just replace the assembly line with a layer of branding and editors. For the longest time, gameplay commentary has been the easiest to produce, but that ease of entry also leaves it oversaturated. In recent years, more channels have moved on to using facecams instead, something that takes a similar amount of effort while also letting them stand out. After all, what's more personal to you than your face? When it comes to sloppers, the hardest part is building the machine. Once everything's up and running, you can easily pump out one or more videos daily. Now, I think it's important to make the distinction that internet drama content isn't inherently slop. There are several examples of really well-constructed hit pieces, even to this day, and the best content drama has to offer is usually rewarded heavily. But to properly identify what is or isn't slop, I've put together a little checklist. A video is slop if the visuals are boring and uncreative with no clear vision, facecam and gameplay are both easy ways to fill in footage without thinking, causing different videos to be tonally and visually the same. The majority of the content is directly built off of someone else's. Commentaries and reactions are fundamentally built on another piece of content. That way, you only have to do at most half the work, and you can let the original piece play in yours to extend runtime and provide context. The videos don't bring any new information or perspective to the table. Oversights are common and can be noticed just by watching the video as intended. Oversights are common. The creator tends to meander on tangentially related topics to extend watch time. AI. And lastly, the most important factor to me, the videos aren't rewatchable and are almost designed to be discarded. To narrow in on that last point, there's actually a term for the opposite of this sort of content: evergreen. Just like the tree never loses its color, the content never really fades out of public relevance, and can continue to be watched even years after its original publication. The assumption is that while slop has the ability to be quickly mass-produced, evergreen content can be watched and rewatched until it does just as well, if not better, in the long run. Another thing to point out is that YouTube has always had tiers of content. This is something I commonly see misconstrued. Yes, old Leafy videos were still slop, just because they were around before the term was made doesn't make a difference. Examples of evergreen content, like Content Cop, can also be found. The difference between then and now is that back then, the two types of content could easily coexist without competition. Leafy would get millions of views on his daily videos, but they'd never have the impact of a Content Cop. Nowadays, videos like that are getting increasingly rare, and even then, these good videos could still be directly competing with slop, just summarizing the points within them. Another thing I'd like to highlight is what I'm calling disguised slop. For what it's worth, most daily drama commentaries make it clear and obvious that they didn't have much thought put into them. They take a few hours, then they're posted. Disguised slop, however, consists of videos, usually taking the essay or documentary approach, that trick the viewer into thinking they're watching something good with fancy editing, yet lack the writing that makes these videos memorable.
This trend right here has to be one of the worst trends. There have been worse trends.
This type of content tends to take the form of listicles, whether blatantly or subtly. The videos jump from topic to topic, with no connection between them, no through line, themes, or deeper narratives to be digested. And that ends with a video you watch once, then never think about again. Again, there's nothing innately wrong with slop content, disguised or not, at least when there's no better alternative. A lot of slop creators don't have the ambition to make better videos, but can still thrive on this platform by being ahead of the curve, quickly covering new drama and situations as they unfold, regardless of if their information was properly fact-checked.
You made a video critiquing Sniper Wolf or something, saying definitively she striked a channel. There was not enough information yet to say that she definitively striked a channel. But you've been coming in here with this whole thing of, like, integrity and all this fucking shit. Like, dude, you gotta, like, you know, dial it down a little bit.
The issue arises when creators known for making good, rewatchable, evergreen videos turn to making vapid, flavor of the day slop. Content no one will ever bother to rewatch or even think about again. And they begin throwing together worse content, both for themselves and for their audience. I'm not that annoyed when someone who isn't skilled or talented enough to do better makes a lazy commentary video. But when someone with that talent wastes it by pumping out garbage instead of making something better, that's where I start to get a bit miffed. That's a waste of talent, and potential content that I'm being deprived of. But why would these established and skilled creators intentionally choose to make worse videos? It's money. Obviously, it's always money. So obviously the creators are driven to make this content solely with profits in mind, as there's little to no creative process there to begin with. But why do they do so well? You can say it's because the algorithm promotes it, but the algorithm just delivers what the viewers want. So why do the viewers watch it? First, the packaging. The thumbnails display as little information as possible, just enough to entice the viewer without revealing any specifics. A cartoon character on a blank background with some text, or the subject of whatever the drama video is about. In this niche, the titles are vague, not providing the viewer with any information on what the video's about, besides the fact that there's a situation. Again, a purposely vague, neutral term meant to get the viewer's foot through the door. And once that happens, Pandora's box has been opened.
The Mr. Beast situation somehow got 10 times worse.
If this is true, this could actually be the end. This could be. I was debating whether I wanted to talk about Mr. Beast, and you just destroyed his career, and it's getting worse for him.
All of a sudden, your entire recommendations will be flooded with an influx of forgettable, interchangeable drama content. Different situations, yet always the same thumbnail, and always the same titles. But after viewing begins, why would anyone stay watching? This leads us to the next important piece of the puzzle. The algorithm needs watch time. And if they're making bad videos, people aren't going to keep watching. Or are they? Over the years, the sloppers have found the perfect workaround: drama. The reason a lot of drama slop does so well is because the viewer's collective interest in the given situation leading them towards it is always more persuasive than the lackluster content of the video begging them to leave. When you watch More Pegasus recap the Mr. Beast allegations, you're watching to see what Dogpack is alleging. The issue here is that Pegasus is an aggregator, with no insight or involvement. He isn't diligently looking through the evidence, he's repeating everything he sees in front of him, pushing the popular narrative because everyone else is. Everything he says is just a watered-down version of a better and more entertaining video, and even the information he presents isn't double-checked. In his third video, Dogpack accuses MrBeast CEO James Warren of domestic violence with no source, and Pegasus just repeats it without question, not even bothering to correct it in the pinned comment or description even after Dogpack rescinded that point.
There's allegedly domestic violence charges that were filed against him.
Now, obviously, someone in the CEO position of Mr. Beast, in my opinion, should not have a history of any DV or psychopath behavior or drug addiction or potential harassment involving a female colleague, right? These are all extremely concerning allegations and need to be addressed immediately. I feel like you have to take some responsibility for the CEO of your company, right?
This is sloppy journalism. And yes, journalism is the right term here. People watch this content for the same reason they watch the news. They want to stay informed on the latest events and drama. But if the videos aren't entertaining, and they don't even provide the correct information, there's literally no merit for these to exist. Now that we have a good understanding of slop content and everything it entails, let's go through the life cycle of YouTube drama to examine the slop economy at work. All drama starts from the inciting incident. Usually a creator is called out for doing a bad thing. This first wave of backlash leads to people beginning to make jokes and memes spreading the claims, and within a day or two, the first wave of slop videos are released. With that current drama unfolding, now would be an ideal time for accusations to occur. People begin looking into the accused's history, digging for any possible behavior to be called out on. Streamers will go over this as the situation develops, and sloppers might make an extra video or two if the situation is crazy enough. After a little while, a response to the drama is issued, and is either reacted to with an overcorrective defense, or career-tainting humiliation, which is sometimes deserved, sometimes not. Then with the drama coming to a close, the sloppers throw one more video out to end things off, and a few months later, the disguised sloppers release retrospective documentaries of events. Basically just summarizing what happened with little additional storytelling. A lot of the time, someone's coverage of the situation will also be called out, and several much smaller splinter dramas will occur. These usually aren't talked about as much since they aren't worthy of the news cycle, but smaller channels will continue reacting and responding to each other to propagate the slop economy. I find this regurgitation of content to be interesting. Something even more interesting is that a lot of the time, that inciting drama doesn't really matter. In the early stages, a lot of it is just propelled by those making money off of it to keep the income flooding, spreading around old, unrelated stories to keep the bloodthirsty drama viewer base satiated. A lot of the time, it actually gets pretty sad. You have streamers repeating the same few points on repeat, desperately trying to keep the audience engaged and enraged while they're looking for something, anything else to say. They need to build up the importance of these situations because their livelihood literally depends on it, and if it's a slow day, they're gonna pull in less money.
But I mean, dude, this guy's brilliant. I hope he continues to make videos. I'm gonna cover lots of his stuff from now on, if it's an interesting topic to me. Bro, he is absolute content gold mine.
So we've established that slop videos suck ass, but seeing these established and respected creators switching over to me is a lot more annoying. When a Cheeto or Pegasus make bad videos, no one really cares. They never made good videos to begin with, but when someone known for going more in depth covers things poorly, it kinda damages their credibility. Everything up until now was basically just set up. This is a video about one man in particular. This is a video about a man I used to look up to, someone who's inspired me. This is a video about PyroLive.
48 hours. Well, to be honest, I'd pick you up, hug you while rubbing you against my...
I'm going to use this video to address the allegations made against me.
Many believe that the term slop originated from him to begin with. I personally first heard it thrown around on an episode of his podcast, TBH.
I like to imagine it is an actual trough of slop and just the little piggies running up to the trough.
Pyro is someone who used to be known as a Leafy clone, riding the same wave that Leafy used to come to prominence. But over the years, he would slowly shift from that image by making increasingly higher quality videos, both his deep dive game reviews, as well as by refining his general commentary videos. He was someone capable of achieving a level of humor while still being able to be taken seriously, something I myself am trying to achieve, and he was highly rewarded because of it. While in his gameplay stage, he was the follower, in his more long-form content, he was a pioneer. Eventually, he would solely commit to the long-form game reviews, unfortunately leaving his more comedic-slanted commentary videos in the past. This gap in his dichotomy then sparked the creation of PyroLive, a second channel that started as stream highlights before slowly shifting and evolving into a daily commentary channel. In a lot of ways, it's the same as he's always done, but something's changed. The video lengths have ballooned from 10 minutes to over 20, he spends several minutes per video rambling about unrelated topics, and even some of the topics themselves are just ass. He clearly doesn't give a shit about what he's talking about, so misinformation commonly slips in, whether he doesn't know the full extent of a situation or just other obvious oversights.
Wait, what? Oh shit, I didn't know he did that.
Many fans have seemingly diluted themselves into thinking it has to be this way, that there's no better alternative, and cope by saying he needs the numerous slop channels to fund his good videos. Now on its face, that logic is fine. He clearly spends a lot on commissions, both for his main channel and also other means. Personally, I don't think he's in a bad financial situation with his $5,000 PS5 shirt and $20,000 a month on commissions for personal use, but the easy claim to make is that just because he's making these videos for money doesn't mean he shouldn't be criticized when he gets things wrong. I do think it's respectable that, for the most part, he tries to avoid talking about more serious situations. It's better to spread misinformation on something that doesn't matter, but it'd be even better to see no misinformation at all. A little extra effort goes a long way, even if it is for slop content. A lot of people seem to have forgotten what Pyro's best commentaries were like. He would build a unique atmosphere around the topics he covered. He'd actually buy Ninja's book or try to meet Morgs. His video about Karens, for example, had a House of the Dead inspired intro, which separates that unique video from all the other videos on his channel. And the same can be said with just about every other video from that era. And those videos were great. Certifiably not slop. I could still go back and rewatch them today and have the same enjoyment I did in 2019 and 2020. It's evergreen. And this effort was rewarded with millions and millions of views per video. It's easy to forget now, but Pyro didn't just wake up one day with 5 million subscribers. He made videos to earn it. I'm not saying he can make videos on this level every day for PyroLive, but incorporating elements of the higher effort format, even just for a video or two, will do a lot of work to make the videos stand out again. And maybe the views will reflect that. But instead of anything memorable, he just needs a situation to be crazy. All the issues I have with Pyro's approach to Slop Tent can be found in one situation. A microcosm that's reflective of almost all of the problems in his entire operation. And yes, that situation is insane. It all started when the YouTuber FlazeFire made a video called The X Situation Is Why. It's a video that, on top of being very well put together, is also very, very blunt with its criticism. He points out why this type of content is bad, makes fun of everyone doing this content, then he himself becomes the example of what to do instead. It's a well-edited, well-written, and hilarious video, and all of this material is condensed to 7 minutes and 54 seconds. So short that the video can't even play mid-roll ads. He lost money by choosing to do this, but not adding those 6 seconds when he so easily could have really hammered home the point of the video. No one could possibly claim that this was slop because it wasn't a profitable venture. True sloppers would never even entertain that thought. So this video captures Pyro's attention, and he does a reaction to it on his Pyrocynical TV channel, a stream highlights reaction channel that re-uploads highlights of segments taken from his streams. I was curious to see Pyro's reaction to what he says. It's a video that takes a very aggressive stance against slop, and as someone who formerly made good videos on a regular basis, maybe his worldview and experiences on YouTube can provide some insight into the slop mindset. Then I watched the video, and it was awful.
That's why I called it slop, because it's garbage content. Videos need to be profitable on the slop channel. Yeah, that's the point, really. That sucks. Like, no one cared. I don't want to hate the LGBT because this guy's gay. That's funny.
First of all, before even getting to the reaction, the Pyro TV channel is the third channel for a reason. It makes PyroLive look like good content. With his reaction, the video goes from less than 8 minutes to nearly 50. From the outside, that's a good thing. He clearly has to be adding to the original content to get it that long. The issue comes in how that time is filled. For a lot of the video's runtime, he gets distracted with unrelated donations and goes on tangents that have nothing to do with the video he's reacting to, or any of the points brought up in it. There's nothing wrong with this happening on stream, after all, you want to give the people their money's worth, but when you're re-uploading this to a YouTube video, these constant distractions become grating. People are watching your reaction to see how you react. Literally no one cares what some random donator has to say while trying and failing to be funny.
You a sloppy boy, little slopper, sloppy slopper, hopper, topper, bopper boy? Yeah, you are my special little pig.
It's the exact same psychology as the drama slop from earlier. The interest in seeing Pyro's reaction is enough to trick the viewer to keep watching through all the fluff. The easy solution is to get one of his 20 editors to cut out the dead space. But that costs a little extra money. If he does that, maybe he'll have to spend less money on commissions every month, but through the filler, and the donations, and watching a critical video for some reason, the talented Pyro I grew up watching is still in there somewhere. Maybe he can really use his decade of YouTube experience to give us some insight. How does he respond to the claims about slop content?
He's sadly right. He is sadly right. You can't make the slop shorter, because if you make it shorter, you get paid less. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of that as well, though, in the sense of just like regurgitating information. I am chained to the slop mill.
Oh, really now? So he's just fully aware that the majority of his output is complete and utter garbage, yet he chooses to do nothing about it. Something that annoys me is that most of the viewers actually respect his honesty. He may be making shit, but at least he's open about it. No, if you know you can easily improve, you should be criticized harder. This is embarrassing. This coping gives Pyro the leverage to continue carrying this self-defeating mindset, admitting that the content he makes and endorses with his brand is terrible. Yet he'll never bother to change because people aren't pushing him hard enough on it. And when they do, he concedes, doesn't bother to improve, and they respect that. In a lot of ways, Pyro and his fans are the same. He doesn't value his slop content, so why should the viewers? A lot of Pyro's more dedicated audience really seems to detest the modern direction he's taken. The top comments of nearly every video are actively against him, making deprecating jokes and comments at his expense, almost like a punishment for continuing to post these videos. Yet, they keep watching. A lot of people seem to only be watching the videos because of the connection they already had to Pyro's work. He made videos in the past that emotionally resonated with them, or made them laugh. And because of that, they feel this impulse, almost like Stockholm Syndrome, to stay around him like they owe him something, even when the content itself actively suffers because of it. But the comments aren't always complete drivel. As an experiment, Pyro did try getting his editors to put more work into certain game review videos, releasing slightly less polished, main channel adjacent content. While they didn't do as well view-wise, because you're uploading gaming videos to a drama channel, the comments were a lot more genuine and positive relating to the topic and themes of the videos, because they recognized that there was an amount of time and effort put into these, and they deserve to be taken more seriously. And yet, he still chose to return to the slop, because on average, they got more views than his higher effort content.
We tried doing different content, like we put a couple of days into this video and no one cared. So it's like, what's the fucking point?
If you're mass manufacturing a defective product, you fix the assembly line. But when that defective product is still purchased by the consumers, there really isn't a reason to fix it, is there? In a situation like Pyro's, I understand why he's so willing to fall into complacency. He's a big YouTuber now, without anything more to prove. He doesn't have to try anymore for the vast majority of his content because he's already done that work, built that audience, and built that machine. And if it continues being profitable, he has no motivation to improve. He can make better videos. He has made better videos. He just chooses not to because it's easier and he's being rewarded for it. The fans don't care. They just want background noise. And they're willing to fall into that same complacency. The same mindset Pyro holds towards the same videos on his own channel. They're the same. In my opinion, slop content is some of the worst content that's allowed on YouTube. Obviously there's worse stuff, but it breaks terms of service. It lands firmly in the middle of the bell curve, which makes it too consistent to not be laughed at, yet not good enough to be memorable. It takes up this completely empty black hole in your brain. I think Flacefire actually put it best in his video.
Even after watching an entire video within this genre, I can't recall the title, the thumbnail, or even what the video was about.
If there's one word you can use to describe slop, it's shameless. They don't care when they get information wrong, they don't care that their videos aren't entertaining, and they don't care about being forgotten. They only care that they're pulling in money. It's so ironic how often I see people constantly complain about TikTok, yet go on to watch hours and hours of forgettable, nothing content on a day-to-day basis. And I know because I've been there. One of my biggest guilty pleasures on YouTube is watching Minecraft hardcore content. I've complained before about how all Minecraft content is the same, in terms of style, topic, and presentation. The only way you can tell these channels apart is by the skin on the thumbnail. And the videos themselves aren't memorable. A lot of the same problems as the videos discussed earlier. And yet, on occasion, I find myself watching these videos, usually in the background, passively wallowing in the slop. And I get it. It's comfort content, both for the fans watching and the creators making it. The viewers always know what to expect, and the creator always expects the videos to do well. But there's a problem here. A personal problem, but maybe one you share as well. Never in my creative process am I more uninspired, discouraged, and disassociated from the creativity needed to make a good, memorable video. There have been points where I've genuinely believed I had memory issues because of how interchangeable and forgettable these videos are. When there's no excitement in the content you watch, it's hard to get into the headspace to be excited about what you're making. I imagine it's even harder to be constantly surrounded by drama content. If your entire feed is an echo chamber full of negative videos about bad people doing bad things, it's easy to fall into it, to let it slowly consume you until all that's left is a more pessimistic person. Watching other people's videos is a big part of my creative process. To me, there's nothing more entertaining and rewarding than watching a video and seeing a noticeable change within yourself because of that video. The best content on this site changes you as a person, and that's a beautiful thing. Something we're only gonna see less and less of in the following years. Because people would rather be comforted than confronted, to be coddled than to be challenged. And creators that, in distant memory, were fucking great, couldn't care less about actually satisfying the people watching because those people only want to watch garbage. So how do we fix this? There are always going to be creators putting time and effort into their videos, just like there will always be creators pumping out slop. But ultimately, the reason slop even exists is because it's more profitable than making good videos. It's just the optimal business decision. Pyro even says it himself. So, you want to stop creators from pumping out slop? Stop watching it. Raise your standards, and these creators will be forced to raise theirs too. As consumers, if we want better content, we have to boycott. So next time you see a video called "the doo-doo fart situation is shitty," or whatever other collection of vapid, meaningless words, all you have to do is hit the 3 dots and press "do not recommend channel." Over time, you'll start to notice the algorithm giving you better and better content. Actual artistic works people put effort into producing. Now, for some of the more devoted slop watchers that watch their daily slop to stay up to date on internet drama, I actually have a solution that will not only keep you updated, but also save you time. I may be the first person to ever actually say this, but go on Twitter. If you're looking for a platform full of negativity, Twitter's the perfect place for you. Like with shorts, I find it so funny that people will actively talk about how horrible Twitter is, yet they'll go on to watch garbage YouTube content with information taken from Twitter. After I started using the site more frequently, I noticed a dramatic decrease in the amount of Moist Critical and PyroLive I watched. Because the main source these aggregators pull from is just the Twitter trending tab. 5 minutes a day keeps the sloppers away. If you don't want to go on Twitter, which honestly is kind of valid, another alternative is to watch self-aware sloptubers. Channels like ChadCat and Dolan Darkest are channels that deliver the information without wasting 20 minutes of your life. Obviously, they tend to miss some of the finer details and nuances, but if you want the full picture, obviously you wouldn't watch aggregators to begin with. You would just watch the videos they're taking the information from. So that's the slop economy. While I'd love to believe it's possible for the pendulum to swing back the other way to people preferring creative ventures and high-effort, well-thought-out projects, I think the most realistic scenario is that this is just the modern landscape we live in now. At times, it feels all-encompassing. And even if this boycott actually causes any sort of effect, which I don't really think it will, even if every human creator completely moved on from slop, there's also the constant oversaturation of AI slop that's only getting more and more common. And honestly, I don't even want to think about that anymore. I've already said my piece on it. So for now, I'll just leave you with this. Slop isn't going anywhere, so all you can do is try to go away from slop. Appreciate good creators while you have them, lest you let them be part of the ever-consuming YouTube slop economy.
I will be honest, I really do hate slop. I really do hate slop. But like, my monthly income at the minute from slop has made like 70 to 80% more money than what the Darkwood video has made so far.